Alright, so welcome back everybody. So for this video, I want to show you guys some of the things that I really love from this game, Lands of Galazyr. This is such a wonderful game, and I just wanted to share some of the things that I really love about this game with you in this video. So let's get started. One of the things that you'll do before you even start your first game is each of the characters have these they each have their own unique skills that they start with, that they specialize in. And there's different skills. There's thievery, and there's might, and survival, and communication, and perception, and knowledge, for instance. All these different skills, okay? And so each character has their own that they specialize in. So for instance, Moore here, the Frid Lizard, he specializes in communication because he gets 2 plastic pegs. And so you only get technically 4. You only get 4 skill pegs, okay? But during the course of the game, you might be able to change them. For instance, if you look closely at Moore, you'll notice he's got 2 in communication, he's got 1 in knowledge, and he's got 1 on might. Well, if you look at his board, you've noticed that he no longer has 1 on knowledge, but instead has 2 on might, or strength. Because during the course of the game, I was given the option to trade in one of the skill tokens I had for strength, for might. So I took knowledge out of the equation and put it on might. And it was a huge help because this is a story game, right? And many of the different options that you'll have available to you, you know, like breaking into someone's house. Maybe you'll jump up to the 2nd floor and go into the 2nd floor window. Well, you might need survival to do that. You know, you might need to be skilled to do something like that. So that would be a skill that you could specialize in to help you achieve that. You know, and if you don't achieve it, then you didn't obviously, you know, break into the person's house, right? Or, you know, if you wanted to pick their lock to go in through the front door, well, you'd need thievery to do that, right? And so you would want at least one of these skill tokens nearby or on that particular skill to increase your chances of picking that lock to get into the house. And the cool thing is the dice, they increase your chances. You start with these 5 basic dice, okay? Let me just take the dice out. Okay, they're black. The black dice are the basic dice. They've got 1 of each of the 6 skills on them. And in order to have a success on your, in the story mode, you're going to need to be able to, you know, get a particular side of this. Now, with only 1 on each of the dice, there's no guarantee you would even get 1 success. But the cool thing is you can trade in these 5 dice for these better dice. So if you were needing to pick a lock, let's say I wanted to pick a lock and I needed thievery to be, that would have to be the success rate is thievery. I could actually use 2 of these might dice or strength dice instead, or swords if that's easier to understand. And these, while they have 2 swords on them to increase your chances if you were fighting an enemy or something like that, they also have 2 of the thievery on them as well. So you'll notice there's 1 here and there's 1 here. So that doubles your chances of rolling the thievery dice, even though you're not actually using the dice that would have, obviously, the icon for thievery, which would be, obviously, this dice here. But you can't utilize the dice you don't have a skill in. So you can't roll these dice, or these dice, or these dice, or these dice, because you don't have the skills to roll them. But the cool thing is they each have the other symbols on them twice. So it increases your chances. That means if you use these dice only have the might icon, the thievery icon, and the survival icon on them. They don't have the other 3 icons on them at all. So, you know, that might be the downside, but most likely you'll be choosing something that's going to have, you know, something on it that you can utilize. But yeah, I find that fascinating. You don't even have to be special. You don't have to even have a specialized technique in a particular skill set in order to increase your chances of rolling for that skill set. You can just have something close by. And I thought that was ingenious. That's smart. But that's cool because, and then of course you only get 2 of them because there's only 2 of these pegs. So that's really cool. I like this. I really love this. This is awesome. This skill thing with the pegs. Beautiful. Well done. And they fit in there nicely too. So and one of the things I really love is the skills and the rolling of the dice for the skill that you need in order to accomplish your quest. So that's one thing I wanted to mention. Then, so anyways, like I said, he had the grain knowledge, but thanks to a particular quest, I was able to obviously switch it over to might, which was wonderful because I had an upcoming quest that I needed to that I would probably potentially get into a fight over. And I wanted to increase my chances of having a successful, you know, coming out ahead in the fight. So it worked out well for me to do that. And it's not something that is gonna, just because I did it, doesn't mean it's gonna happen to you, because the options in this game is staggering. The story options are staggering. So for instance, another thing I really like, and I'll show you guys the website here. So first of all, you have all these different months, okay? And you play 1 month per game. Now, my first game was December. Your first game might not be even close to my month because it's kind of random which month you start with. You have a bunch of cards, and I'll get to these card trays in a moment. But you got a bunch of cards that have the different months on them, and you shuffle them. The game tells you to shuffle them for the setup, and then you draw one. And then, assuming you're going to play it again with the stuff that you had from the first journey, then you would just get the next month. Well, for me, next month would be January. So let's go ahead and click January, okay? I'm not going to play right now. Ooh, spoilers. Didn't mean to click that. There we go. Back to the home. So you have it. So not only does it give you a month that you're going to start with, but then it gives you a day you're going to start on too. So you don't get to pick your days. It will randomly pick a day for you, and I like that a lot. And there are quests that will ask you, is it Monday? And you'll look and see if it's Monday. You'll look and see if it's Monday. Wherever this peg is, you'll know what day it is. Oh, it's on Friday, so it's not Monday. Well, then you click no. It's as simple as that, right? But if it had been Monday and you click Monday, who knows what's going to happen? That's what's so interesting. Just because because you have a particular day that it's asking for, you'll probably have a completely different perspective or different outlook or different list of options. It's just mind-boggling how many options there are in the game. But you have all of these stories here, okay? And there's I think 400 of them or something like that. There's a lot. There is a lot. Now, normally you are in a city. There's 3 different types of quests, technically. You've got a starting quest. Each character has their own starting quest that you can start on, and it will lead to a part 2 and a part 3 if if it works out. If it was a success, for instance, okay? But yes, that's what's going to happen. But you don't have to go the route that each character has for a quest. You can ignore it and do other quests. There are quest cards you can accept from certain cities. They'll be in certain cities. You can go to that location, accept a quest from that location, and then it'll tell you to go somewhere on the map. And then you'll go there and you'll take care of the quest. That's another type of quest that you can do. But there's a third one as well, because every turn you can take a quest. You can actually have an adventure every single turn, because it's not just simply taking a quest from a city and going to another location to initiate the quest, or going to a location based on your story, on your character's story. But there's also these other locations, and even locations at the cities as well, that can initiate quests. So let me pull out a quest card here. Let's see. Let's see here. No, they're called events, sorry. So the events are actually also technically quests too, when you think about it. And there's quite a few of them. Quite a few. So let me just pull one out without messing up too much here. Okay, so here's one of the many events in the game. Now, the thing about it is, the first thing you're going to check is what day it is. Because if you're in a random location, like let's say I'm here, okay, which is a hill, okay, I first have to see if it's Monday, because if it's Monday, I have to activate this event or this quest instead in the storybook, okay? Then, if that's not the case, if it's not Monday, then I go down and look and see where I'm at. If I'm not at a settlement, then I don't get to activate this. I'm not at the grassland, I'm not at the forest, but I am at the hill, so that's the one I'd activate. I'd activate that number there on the hill. Okay, and there are just tons of these events, so many. I don't think you'd be able to keep track of every single event in the game that you've played. I mean, not likely, unless you write everything down that you did. Maybe you could keep track that way. But then, what's another thing I really like is these dividers. Okay, so there's two different card boxes here that you'll be putting your cards in. This one is basically the save slot, okay? So things that you've done, they go here to save for your next journey, for your next game. So that way you can continue on. And the cool thing about this game is, because I'm playing solo, and I'm going to be playing solo, and I'm going to be playing with Moore quite a bit, and continuing his journey, and seeing what we come across with him. At some point, if I want to, I can reset the game as if I never went on a journey with Moore at all, which is really cool. And there's a whole bunch of rules in the rule book of how to do it, how to reset your journey, so that way you can start all over from scratch. So that means I can play with Moore in solo mode as much as I want, or any of the other characters for that matter. And then, when I'm ready to introduce this game to my friends, I can just reset everything, and well, we can start from scratch, which is what I really like. That's really cool. So, but anyways, assuming you're actually going to continue on as a particular character here, you'll put all of the cards that you are supposed to save, the items that you might have acquired, you know, like coffee, for instance, or a weapon, or something like that, or a companion, or a status effect, something like that, you might be able to carry on to the next game and have that in the beginning of the game, which is really cool. And of course, your money will kind of transfer over. So right now it's on 7. You normally start the game off with 10 gold. Well, I have 7 gold at the end of... I had 7 gold at the end of the game, and I had way more than 7. I had way more than 10. It kept going up and down, up and down. So you'll be using your gold quite a bit. There'll be options and quests where it'll say, hey, you can pay this amount of money to do this, or you can do this instead, or you can do that instead. So there's lots of options. But yes, that's another thing I really like. These cards, the card dividers, and where you put your cards. So that's the save slot. everything that's supposed to go in the save slot, it tells you. In the rule book, it'll tell you everything that's supposed to go in the save slot. The rule book is very precise on what you do with the save slot and how you organize this set of cards here, which you can barely see, which we'll get to in a moment. But it also has on the back all of the iconography, so that way it'll help you remember. There have been times where I was like, wait, what does this mean? What does this even mean? But it's all back here. You just have to look for it. And what's really cool is the game only comes with 4 characters, but these 2 in the bottom are not in the game at all, yet they're in the rule book. And if you'll look closely, it says in and an expansion. So they're already planning an expansion for this game. So man, much more to love coming still. But like, for instance, I was trying to figure out what this symbol means. A lot of the items have something to do with, or the skills have something to do with this icon here, and I just couldn't figure it out. So I looked it up and found it up, and I realized, oh, it means the 12-sided die. So you roll the 12-sided die, sometimes in quests, to help you with the success rate or something like that, to increase your chances of getting more prestige, because that's what you want. You want to get more prestige to have the best journey. Now, if you were playing competitively against another player, you would want the most prestige. And to get the most prestige, you would have the most successes with your dice roll, which is here, the dice roll. You would have more successes to increase your chances of getting the most prestige. If you had the bare minimum that was required for a success, then you wouldn't get very many prestige, and you probably wouldn't get very many good stuff, good items, and things like that. That's another thing. A lot of the quests give you free items, so that's just awesome. Or companions or something like that. But another cool thing is, if you roll the dice one time, let's say I rolled 5 dice, okay, and I didn't get what I needed. I didn't get a single success. I could roll them again and try it again. You're allowed 1 free re-roll of these 5 dice. But sometimes that could be a problem, because your first roll might have gotten you something to succeed, but maybe you're hoping to get a better success with the second roll. Well, if the second roll ends up worse, you can't forfeit the second roll, so you have to be careful about that. That could definitely happen. But that's an option that's really cool too, that I like about this game. But yeah, the rule book is very precise. I like this rule book. Okay, so another thing I wanted to mention about the stories is sometimes it'll tell you a particular tag in a quest. Don't read the top part. Okay, sometimes it'll ask you about a particular tag, a mercenary tag. Well, where would I find a mercenary tag? Maybe on a follower. Maybe one of your followers is a mercenary. And if he is, it would have the mercenary tag on him. And then you'd be able to click, yes, I have a mercenary. And who knows what's going to happen if I have a mercenary. It could be something good. It could be something bad. I don't know. But you don't want to lie, because that ruins the game. But still, that's something that's possible. Okay, let me get back to the home page, because I keep accidentally clicking stories. Okay, so you have all these different options in the story mode. Without spoiling anything, you're going to have all these different options. And, well, let's see here. Maybe I can do it without messing anything up. I haven't done one of the other characters' starting quests. So I'm going to do a spoiler here. This might spoil something if it's your first time playing. I'm going to choose Kiradai here, and I'm going to choose his first quest. So this is going to be a spoiler alert, and I'm going to look up 87. So I'm going to show you guys what 87 looks like. I don't know what it looks like either. So we're going to click on 87, or you can come here and punch in a number, and then just do that. So then you get this text that you can read, and if you ended up pausing it, then that's your deal. But I'm trying to spoil as little as possible. So then you're given an option. Sometimes you only have one option, so then you just click the option, right? And then you get more to read. So there's something going on. Then it tells you to do something. Maybe give a particular card from the library to the adventure. We'll get to what the library is. And then after that, you continue. That means there's more to this. So you click continue. Then there's more text. Then it gives you a reminder that you don't want to forget. And then it gives you these other options. You can sneak, and it even tells you that it's easy to do this. Or you can intimidate and the clerk to let you in, and that's medium difficulty. Or you can wait until you're called for, which doesn't even have any of those. But if it has these two on it, this symbol or one of the other skills, that means you're going to be rolling dice. But let's say we didn't do any of those. We just did this. Well, you get more text, but you still got something. You got gold. Okay, so that's something. But look, we're not done yet. Now we don't get that option. Now there's something else going on here. And now we've got knowledge and might here. Ouch. We won't go any further, but there's a lot of different, you get the point. There's a lot of different options in this game that it's going to be a different journey every time you play. It's never going to be the same thing twice. Even if you were to restart the game and play the same character, you might be more interested in trying a different approach, a different way, and then having a completely different adventure. It's just amazing, this game. Story mode is just amazing. So that's all I wanted to mention on the story. Now, then you have like a library here. Library of cards. In here is going to be all sorts of things. Items, quests, events, status effects, companions. It's all in here, okay? It's all organized. It tells you exactly how to put everything in here. That's what I really love. Because most of the game is in these two boxes here, the setup for the game is very quick. And not only that, but putting the game away, after your game is done, it only took me a few minutes to put everything away. Because it's very precise of where you put stuff. It's very quick and simple. The gameplay might take some time because you might be trying to find a particular number in here that you're supposed to look for. But because everything's well organized, it won't take you too long to do that. So I really love the card dividers and how everything is set up here. Of course, it would be nice if this box was a little smaller, so this, these cards here, which is never going to be as big as these, don't slide all over the place all the time. But other than that, I love this. So the setup is awesome. Setup is easy. I love that. Obviously, these are awesome. And obviously, the skill track is awesome. Is there anything else I wanted to mention? Let's see. I think I pretty much mentioned everything that I liked about this game. I don't know if I'll ever do a how to play video for this because there's a lot. In order to explain the game, technically you would have to spoil something, to some extent. I tried not to, but hopefully I didn't spoil too much in this video. But yeah, I think that, there is one other thing. So in the quest line, like I said, you might be looking for a mercenary tag. If you have a mercenary, if it says you need a mercenary, right? But there are other tags in the game that won't even necessarily be brought up in the story. But it might be something as simple as sneak. You might be sneaking into something. And if it says that keyword sneak, and you have an item or a status effect that says sneak on it, then you can use the item to help you out. So let me show you one of the items that Moore has here. Okay. So for instance, it has these three tags: ranged, gunpowder, and weapon. If one of those keywords show up, in the quest line, in the story mode. If one of them show up, that means you get to use this item for that purpose. That means that if you are doing a quest and none of these show up, you cannot use this item to your advantage, okay? Another thing, so that's the tags that I was talking about, mercenary tag. So, but there is another type of tag to watch out for too. It's also these 3 tags as well. So while it might be looking for a particular tag like gunpowder, do you have gunpowder? Well, I do. Then you'd get to, use this card, and it might change the storyline too. But if, for instance, you're trying to unlock something, like I did get that option where I was trying to unlock something. Well, here it is, the word unlock. I get to use this skill, which is get one basically skill success. So I automatically get 1 skill success regardless of how my roll went. Pretty cool, right? And so obviously there's a lot of different abilities here, but it's going to be contingent on what you're doing that will allow you to use these items here, these item cards. That's what's really cool. That's what's really cool. That's something I didn't actually realize the first time the first storyline I did. I didn't realize that I could only use these items if you see something in the story that says one of these keywords, or these keywords for that matter. So that's something to note. You're going to want to remember that it has to have a particular name on your card and in the story, particular keyword, okay? So that's another thing I really liked about this game, is it is really precise of when you can use your items to help you out as well. That's really cool. So you don't simply just have a bunch of items that you can just choose at random. You actually have to have, in the story, you have to be doing something that initiates that item that you can use it for. You can't use that item for something else. You certainly couldn't use an item like coffee to intimidate somebody. And so therefore, there isn't any intimidate tags on the coffee, because that's not something you could do. You couldn't intimidate somebody with coffee. So it just makes sense that you only use items in certain instances, depending on what the item is. So anyways, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about that I loved about Lands of Galazyr. And, then some. So if you guys liked this video, don't forget to leave me a like. Maybe I'll do a how to play for this at some point, but I'll probably play it a few more times before I decide on how to go about doing that. Hopefully at least some of the stuff that I talked about was at least somewhat helpful. But anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. I'll see you guys again next time.